For every society to have a structured organization, there is need for it to be well concretized. There is need for it to have a vision. There is need for it to have a mission. There is need for it to have a goal. And there is need for it to have a do's and don'ts. For this reason, Plato once said, until king becomes philosophers, or philosophers become king, that is the only time that we can have an ideal society. Welcome to Behind the News, a scenario whereby we discuss, we analyze political issues. Hello viewers, welcome once again to your #1 channel, OPC TV. You are welcome once again to the political circuit, where we discuss some salient issues about politics, where we analyze some various contents about the happenings in the political sphere of life. I welcome you once again to the program tagged Behind the News. Here we analyze daily news, we break down some political matters, how it affects us as citizens, and we profess solutions to how to achieve a greater height. I am Bajimi Elijah Oluwatoyin Amenyola Joseph. I'm the host of this program. We shall be discussing a particular content which I tagged democracy. In a country, for us to have an organized society, there must be rules, regulations, and guidelines. And these guidelines are those that guide the conduct of every individual. It dictates the action, the do's and don'ts of every individual in a particular society. We now take a move into the political life of Nigeria. We ask ourselves, what type of governance are we practicing? Is it democracy we prefer? Are we practicing it as a reality or just an illusion? Or are we practicing oligarchy in disguise? And I want us to go into the definition of democracy. Let us break it down. Let us ask ourselves, are we really into democracy? Because when you look or listen to the views of some persons, which I'll be sharing later on, they express their displeasure in what we call democracy in Nigeria. We begin to ask ourselves, are those in the political seats, are they representing the citizens? Do they have the interest of the citizen at heart? Are they doing what they were voted for? Are they representing the masses? Are they speaking for the poor? These are some of the questions we shall be asking ourselves alongside some views of some individuals which we shall also be sharing with you at this point in time. As I said earlier, we shall bisect the meaning of democracy, the types of democracy that we have, the reasons for democracy, that which prompts democracy, the expected behaviors of individuals who has been elected through election or by voting into political seats, the expectations from the citizens, and what they are meant to discharge to their citizens, which are their duties and primary responsibility. Democracy, as we know, has a Greek origin. It's from a Greek origin which we take as demo and kratia. The coming together of these two concepts bring about people and government. So when there is a nexus, there is a conjoinment, you come to the realization that demo and government definitely means people and government. So the coming together of these two terms, if jammed together, is a pinpoint, is a ladder that tells us that the people has a role in government, and whatever people are doing in government must be that which bring out their daily or personal interest. Democracy, as we know in Nigeria, as defined by a scholarly individual, was defined as a practice, a government of the people, by the people, and for the people, generally known definition. But in Nigeria today, are government individuals, are they practicing democracy in the heart of the citizen? Are citizens pleased with what they see as visible democracy? Are some of the things that the politicians portray, is it a proper conduct of what democracy entails? These are some of the questions I want us to bisect and analyze at this program. Don't forget, The news, as we were told right from the beginning, is an avenue for us to bisect, is an avenue for us to bring down what democracy ought to be and how an ideal society is meant to be structured. And also remember, in as much as we try to bring down democracy as a practice of the people, by the people, and for the people, we have what we call something in government, the test of government. Many persons begin to question, the leaders appointed, are they doing what they were voted for? Some persons begin to question, in a government like ours, where we have Buhari as the head of, as we have Buhari as the president in charge of the federation. Remember, Buhari cannot be in the 36 states at the same time. Rather, can it be in the 774 local governments at the same time? For this reason, we have what we call the tiers of government. Under the tiers of government, we have the federal level, we have the state level, and the local government level. The president, as we know, is the chief commander. The president, as we know, is the chief of the armed forces. He cannot be in the 36 states at the same time. That's why we have what we call the state government. In the state government, as we have in Nigeria, we have 36 state governors. These 36 state governors are the ones that will give either monthly or quarterly report of their states to the president. And also remember, the state governors cannot be in the 774 governments at the same time. They need some other persons to assist them manage their affairs within their states. For this reason, we now have what we call the third tier of government, which is referred to as the local government of a particular section of a country. So, the local government chairman are the ones that manage the councils in the local government area. And one advantage that a local government has is that the government is being brought closer to the people. So the local government chairmen are the ones that would manage the government analysis in the local areas of that particular state, which in turn they will give either a quarterly report to the states, and the states would on the long run give a weekly, monthly, yearly report to the federal power in the particular country. We begin to ask ourselves, these persons appointed, were they voted for? Of course, yes, because it was a dividend of democracy where we go and exercise our franchise, where we go and exercise our rights as citizens, we go to vote for them. But when we vote for them, the question is, when they come to us during election to tell us they will give us this, they will give us that, and we give them that our power of vote, and we send them into the political seats, when they get there, are they doing what the people want? So these are some of the things we begin to ask ourselves with daily happenings in the society. Are those in power, are they acting according to the mind of the citizens? Are they doing things in consonant, in concomitant with what the citizens has in mind? Many of us begin to question that so government is not good. A particular government is not working well. How has the person in charge of your local government ward, whom you see every day, your councillor, what impact has he contributed to the growth of your society? We have many reasons. We have seen many cases whereby some individuals will be asked to go do some massive project for a particular country, state, or local government area. At the end of everything, we get little or no report of what has been asked them to do. These are dictates, these are some of the things that tells us that the practice of democracy in Nigeria is not what it ought to be. But what we have, as I said earlier, might, I don't want to conclude, might be invisible oligarchy. Anybody complaining about the government, we need to sit down. We need to ask ourselves, what have we done? How have we gotten it wrong? What are the things that we need to do to ensure that the society is structured in a way that what we have in mind about democracy can be actualize. A government, on the other hand, has the primary responsibility to discharge its duties. 1, to secure lives and property. 2, to create a serene environment for day-to-day activities, either business, transportation, or anything that has to health issues. The government has that primary responsibility to ensure that lives are saved, properties are kept, and also ensure that there is a smooth running of daily activities within the society. I want us to ask some fundamental questions of some persons to share their view about the government that we have in our present time. Are we practicing democracy? Are government officials acting according to what they ought to do? Are we practicing oligarchy in disguise, Nigeria as a case study? Are we doing that which is expected of us as a citizen? Are those there, are they acting according to what the Constitution says? Because remember, nobody is above the Constitution. We are meant to act according and within the Constitution. Let us go out, hear the views of people. I'll be right back.
They are trying to sellotape our mouth.
From one of the views of our correspondent, he could hear, according to him, he said, they are trying to sellotape our mouth. That word is embedded. It has some implicative implications. When you bisect that word, they are trying. Who are the they? What does sellotape means? The they there, according to him, is referring to those in the political seat, the political class. You could see the frustration. You could see the enthusiasm in him trying to pour out that which he has in mind. The day, as analyzed by him, can be seen in the light of those he voted for, with the interest that they will come back in turn to pay him for good. But now you could see the frustration on his face. The sellotape there, according to him, can also be likened to the case of bribery and corruption. They are trying to keep us quiet, trying to make us keep quiet, adding salt to injury. How painful in a country where we own and exercise same rights according to the Constitution.
See, let me tell you, these crops of senators, this set of politicians in Nigeria, now, I pronounce providence will catch up with them. History will judge them. God Almighty will judge them. It shall never be well with their generations to come. They have finished Nigeria.
As a follow-up to what this guy said, you will realize that his predicament is displeasure is being shown by actions. He has made us to realize that worst senators, in his words, lies in power. But we begin to ask ourselves, are we practicing the dividends of democracy? When individuals who are placed in political power are doing that which they have voted for, something like this would never come up. In democracy, the opinion of the masses matters a lot. That will prompt me to play a clip of an individual that also showcased his displeasure in government because democracy is not practiced the way it ought to be practiced.
Nigeria to look and come to the aspect of this government, we say they are practicing democracy.
In democracy, there is a communication because the person representing the place is being voted for has the right to perform some legal responsibilities to those who has voted him into power. So when an individual is sent into government power, don't forget we are practicing what we call representative democracy in Nigeria. It has a tenure ban. That is, after 4 years, there will be a change of power. So when an individual is being sent into government position, the interest of those people that sent him there is supposed to be placed premium than that which he has in mind. So when the reality of democracy is not being practiced to those that send him or her to political seats, there and then you begin to see some lack of communication. The interest of those that placed him in would not be maintained. There you begin to see what we call bribery, corruption, self-aggrandizement, self-enrichment, clamor for unworked wealth, clamor for political status, and so on and so forth. We'll go on and on to share the pain of some individuals about what they have felt so far, because the dividends of democracy is not being practiced. Shall we continue like this? Let's listen.
This administration have not fulfilled their promise.
In the view of this last correspondent that I want to interview, you will see him trying to suggest that the practice of democracy should be actualized. Let us practice democracy the way we ought to practice it. And don't forget, in as much as we try to blame the government, that the government aren't doing their primary responsibilities to the citizen, let us also remember that every society does not just come to be as a thing of course. No, there is always an antecedent to every action. For this reason, family is a primary unit of every society. Before a society can come to be, we therefore belong to a particular family. In our various families, let us try as much as we can to ensure a proper governing. The governing from the father, the mother, and the children. If these are gotten properly, then the society can be a better place. For those who see Buhari as a God and Messiah, let us also remember that we have some political elites who are close to us. What has your councillor done to your particular ward? What has your local government chairman done to the local government that you belong to? What has your state governor done to your state? Before then, can we now say the president hasn't done enough? This program, as I said earlier, all opinions shared here are subjective and open to error and correction. Let us also remember that government as a democracy is a practice of the people, by the people, and for the people. Let us ask ourselves, what impact have I contributed to the growth of my society? If we all wake up, if we all practice that which we are called to do, then the society can be a better place. Let us make democracy be visible. Let us make democracy a thing that we can boast of that we achieved. When we practice democracy, when we do things that are expected within the Constitution, of course, we would have a better society to live. Thank you for watching this particular channel. Don't forget, Agbajimi Elijah Oluwatoyin. Thank you for watching Behind the News. Subsequently, we'll definitely discuss some other political issues to make sure that our society is a better place. Never forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Watch us, share us. We will never disappoint you by giving you qualitative political news and ensure that you are always kept informed when it comes to news that has to do with the country. Thank you and always stay tuned.